The floodwaters had swallowed the world. Now for months, all Noah has known is the restless groan of the ark and the endless gray horizon. But now, something shifts. The winds change, the waters tremble, and begin to fall. Inside the ark, a family waits in the dim lantern glow, listening for the signs of life. Animals breathe quietly in their stalls, sensing that the long darkness is finally breaking. Then, one morning, the ark shudders to a halt. Not on open water, but on solid rock. High in the mountains of Ararat, the vessels of survival has landed. But the world outside is still hidden beneath the layers of silence and mud. Noah opens the window. He releases a raven, and then a dove. Each flight, a question. Each return, an answer. Until one day, the dove arrives with something extraordinary. A single olive leaf. Still green, still alive. The earth is healing. When the door of the ark swung open at last, sunlight floods in. Noah steps out into the new soil washed clean. His first act is to worship. An altar, a sacrifice, a moment of deep gratitude. And God responds with a promise of peace, etched forever into the rhythm of creation. Never again will I destroy all life with a flood. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us to the 5 W's you need in less than 10 minutes extended. And I'll tell you why I say extended, because it's starting to become more than 10 minutes. So that's why I'm saying extended. Now, this week, we're going to be discussing Genesis chapter 8. Now, before we do anything, please like, share, and subscribe. jollystudios@gmail.com, www.jollystudios.com. Now, before we do anything, let's get to the church business. Let's go ahead and let's do a recap of chapter 7. Now, chapter 7 basically was about judgment and preservation. God came to Noah, told Noah that he needed him to build an ark, asked Noah, gave him the specifics of the ark, how it should be built, the animals 2 by 2. But he also asked Noah to talk to other people and try to get them to come on. But as we know the story, everybody laughed at Noah while he was building the ark. So when God decides that he's going to destroy everything, Noah collects his family up and all the animals, and he obeys them. They get into the ark, close the door, and they were out there roaming for 40 days and 40 nights. Now, if you guys want to catch up to us, right now we're in Genesis. You got time to catch up, okay? Now, what I do is I discuss a chapter a week. Not because I'm reading a chapter a week, it's because I'm just trying to show that I'm not actually the host of this. I'm a student. I'm a student like you. So please know that. I'm not coming to you like I'm telling you something. I'm coming to you because I'm sharing. Because before, yes, I did read the Bible. I read the Bible a bunch of times. But now for me, it's different. It's in a different space, in a different place in my heart. So now I'm really trying to grow this relationship with God. And I'm trying to do everything different. So I'm asking you to come on a journey with me. And if you're a person who has a hard time reading the Bible, come on a journey with me and let's talk about it. And let's talk about these chapters together and leave some comments down below. If there's some things I can do differently or some things I could add, let me know. Because, hey, I'm here to learn like you are. Okay? So now that we have did a recap on chapter 7, let's start talking about the 5 W's of Genesis chapter 8. Now, let's talk about the who. Who are we talking about in this chapter? Well, we're talking about Noah, righteous man chosen by God who survived the flood. We're also talking about Noah's family, his wife, his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, Japheth, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right, and his wives. We're also discussing God. God is all in this because, of course, God is the one who created the flood. God is the one who created everything, okay? And he is the one who remembers Noah and initiates the recession of the waters, meaning making the waters go away. All right, we're also going to be discussing animals, every living creature preserved in the ark, okay, that God asked for Noah to follow his direction and bring them in. Then our last part will be discussing the raven and the dove. 2 birds Noah used to test if the earth is drying. Now, let's get to the what. What are we talking about? The flood waters begin to recede. Receding, folks, meaning moving away. Okay, because remember, they were in 40 days and 40 nights of high water. I can't even imagine being in a boat, or let's say a cargo ship, because this is how big this boat was that Noah built, with all these animals in your family for 40 days. Imagine that. I can't even imagine it. I can't even imagine it. Okay. And then the ark rests on the Mount of Ararat. Now, we're going to get to this. I'm very curious about something. Maybe somebody can enlighten me on this information. But I'm going to circle back around to this Mount Ararat thing, too. All right. Also, too, what we're discussing is Noah sends out the raven and the dove to check for the dry land. We all know that he did that. And he got his response back that it was dry. God commands Noah to leave the ark. So for the first time, God opens the door to the ark, not Noah. God opens the door to the ark, has Noah go out, and Noah starts to look at everything. Noah built an altar and offers a sacrifice. That's the first thing he does when he gets out of the ark. He built an offer, he starts to sacrifice, and he's just praising God to be alive and to be able to start out anew. God responds with the promise never again to destroy the earth with a flood. Okay? He did discuss that. That's why we have the rainbow. That's why we have the rainbow. All right, let's get to the wind. When did all this go down? Well, around 150 days after the flood begins, the water begins to diminish. Wow, that's a long time, right? It's a long time. The ark comes to a rest in the 7th month on the 17th day. The mountaintops become visible in the 10th month. After 40 days, Noah sends out the first bird. The chapter unfolds over a period of months, marking a slow return of life and land. Okay, so this didn't happen very quickly. This was going months and months at a time. Noah puts out the bird comes back, but it's not like come back quickly. Goes out, investigates, then comes back and gives him a response. Both birds. Now, let's talk about the where. Let's talk about where this happened. This all was happening inside the ark, floating on the receding floodwaters. Mount Ararat, a mountain region traditionally connected with ancient Armenia and Turkey. Now let's talk about this. I'm always curious about this. And if somebody knows more about this, please let me know. I remember seeing a documentary before discussing how they thought they saw remnants of the ark up on Mount Ararat. I've always been curious about that. They've never been able to prove that it was true or not, but I've always been curious about that. I love how God, and maybe this is me, how God loves to drop all these little breadcrumbs for us to make sure you know, he confirms that he was here. Even when you're in Israel and all these different ruins in Israel, in places that are mentioned in the Bible, it's just wonderful to see how God just lays out everything. You know, people just say, oh, the Bible this, the Bible that. But, you know, all these things are out here for us to investigate. And I'm just very curious about the Mount Ararat thing and about the remnants of the ark. If anybody has any information about that, put it down in the comments. I'm curious about it. I've always been curious about that. I always wanted to know if that had anything to do with it. Okay. Now, Let's talk about the why. Why did all of this happen? Well, folks, we know all of this happened. All of this happened because of what? Sin. Y'all, let's go look at. For the people who are just joining us today, let's go back to Genesis 1. In the beginning, God creates the heaven and the earth was without form. Then we get into Genesis 2, where he starts to create everything. And then after he's created everything, he creates man and woman. He creates Adam and Eve. And then that's where sin starts. He instructs them not to eat of the tree of life. They do. Well, first Eve does. She listens to the serpent, which is the devil. And then Adam follows. That's where sin began. It began with them. Then when they had Cain and Abel, sin happened with that. When Cain unalived his brother Abel, then they were banished from Eden. And then now you still have sin running rampant because of that bloodline. And God comes in because Noah is a part of Adam's bloodline. God says, we're going to start out new. Noah is a man after my own heart. I'm going to have him and his family start out new. And that's where we're at right now in chapter 8. That's why we're here. Because God wanted them to start out new. All right? So, look at that. I can't believe it. I got through that in almost 12 minutes. Whoa, y'all. That usually doesn't happen for me. That's pretty good. Well, folks, listen. I appreciate you guys listening to me and coming on this journey with me. Now listen, next week we'll be talking about Genesis 9. Now, if you guys are just joining me today, please start with Genesis 1, get to 8, and be ready for 9. Once again, I am not the instructor. I am a student like you. We are going through the Bible together, and I am actually learning things that I've read before, but not actually studied. Now, before you leave, please like, share, and subscribe. jollystudios@gmail.com, www.jollystudios.com. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next week. I love you, and have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.